Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Today we're taking a break from talking about our local news headlines, which are still available right now with the latest information we know about the COVID-19 pandemic, putting facts over fear on our website at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. But because today is Memorial Day, a day to honor the nation's bravest men and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice while defending our very freedoms that we tout here on this program, we wanted to dedicate our broadcast to the Blue Star mothers, the families of those who are most affected by this. Joining us is locally here in Chautauqua County, Susan Raleigh. She's the president of the Blue Star Mothers New York Chapter 4, which we've talked to Susan a number of times on this program. And Holly Baker, a new face to the program. She's the president of the Department of the American Gold Star Mothers here in New York State. Ladies, thank you to both of you for taking time to speak with us today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
So first I wanted to address what Memorial Day means to you. And as a mother of a U.S. service member, I imagine it has a much different meaning than the cookouts and barbecues that many citizens across our area see. Holly, let's start with you. What does Memorial Day mean to you?
Well, Memorial Day has always been a very solemn day for our family. Even before I lost my son in Iraq, during the Iraqi freedom, my family has always looked at Memorial Day as a day to honor and remember those who have fallen for our country and given their all. COVID-19 has stolen the traditional Memorial Day ceremonies and remembrances that we come to expect and cherish as a Gold Star mother. Memorial Day is never easy for a Gold Star family member, even without a pandemic. So this Memorial Day has been very difficult.
Now, Susan, the Saturday before Memorial Day, normally the Blue Star Mothers here in Chautauqua County would have a very extensive ceremony honoring those Gold Star families who had a member of their family who served in the armed forces who passed away while actively serving our nation. Susan, that has been postponed because of COVID-19. That must be a pretty tough decision that you and your fellow mothers in the local group had to make.
It was very difficult, but we weren't able to have as many people together as we usually have, and I couldn't turn anyone away. So we decided as a group to postpone it. We're not canceling it. We're hoping that by September 26th, which is the Saturday before Gold Star Mother and Gold Star Family Day on September 27th, always the last Sunday in September, that we are going to postpone it to that day. We're going to hold it that day, Saturday, September 26th at 10 a.m. at the Veterans Park in Jamestown.
Now, Susan, for you as a mother of a military member who's actively serving now, what does Memorial Day mean to you?
Memorial Day, I'm so thankful that Memorial Day is not about my child. It means that we need to remember and honor our Gold Star families, who I hold so dear to my heart. It's a day of remembering those who gave their lives for our country from the beginning of our country's time to today. And there are so many of those heroes that we have to hold in our heart, hold their families in our heart, and thank them for standing up for our freedoms so desperately that they gave their lives.
And
Memorial Day to me was always, my dad served, and he was in the Navy during the Korean War, and he would bring us to the Memorial Day parade. And a lot of those days I would be on his shoulders watching the parade go by, and the big tanks that used to be there. But I just remember him standing and holding his hand over his heart, and when a flag went by, and he taught me at that point what patriotism truly means. And I remember, a tear in his eye when he'd talk about the comrades that he lost, and that's what it means. It means that to our veterans too. This isn't about our veterans. Veterans Day is about our veterans. This isn't about my son. His Armed Forces Day, which was last Saturday, was about our currently serving military. And, we honored and remembered them in those days. And Veterans Day, our veterans, and Armed Forces Day are currently serving. But today is Memorial Day. And it's about those that gave the supreme sacrifice.
yeah, and I think Holly, you probably have the most advice and an impact from that, speaking as a Gold Star mother. The story of your son and the change from being a Blue Star mother possibly before to a Gold Star mother,
Correct.
I imagine that's something that thankfully very few have to go through, but something that really builds a bond between your group, not just here in Western New York, not just in New York State, but nationally as well.
Correct. That's true. The Blue Star moms have always been very supportive of the Gold Star families, and that's something that we will always cherish. They always show so much empathy for what we've been through and what we continue to go through. Even though that today is Memorial Day, we have Memorial Day every day of our lives. And having that support from our Blue Star moms is very wonderful. There isn't a day goes by that we can't just reach out, call, or just to sit and have coffee or to talk and share our stories with our Blue Star moms. They're a fantastic group. And I hope none of them ever have to go from that Blue Star status to gold like I did.
And Holly, I imagine you probably think about your son very often.
Every day. Every day I think about Brian.
What was it like? Who was Brian?
Brian. Oh, Brian was a fantastic young man. He was our middle son. We had 3 sons and 2 daughters. And he was the hero in our family, even before he went into the military. He was always funny and could make anybody smile, and he would do anything for anybody. And he cared a lot about people, and that always made me proud of him. I am proud of him to this very day. Brian decided after high school, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, so he went into the military. And I said, why? Why do you have to go into the Army? And he says, I want to make a difference, Mom, and that's one place I can make a difference. And I said, but why infantry? And he said, I'll make a difference there. And he did. He was a fantastic young man, a fantastic soldier. Probably about 6 years into his service, he brought home Amy, his wonderful wife. Well, at the time, they were just dating. Brian married Amy, and the summer of 2004, they told us that we would be the proud grandparents of twins, which really brightened us up that we were going to have grandchildren and twins that you run in the family. And Brian, he served many tours in, besides here in the United States, doing a lot of things. He went to Bosnia. He was in Kosovo. He did his initial tour in Iraq in 2003. And then June of 2004, he was called back to Iraq for a second tour. And in November, one day into his 9th year of service in the United States Army, he was killed in action in Baghdad, Iraq. And it changed so many lives. I can't even begin to describe not only mine, my husband's and my children's, but his wife and his children. His young girls, daughters never got to meet Daddy. And he is their hero. He's my hero. And he will forever be our hero.
And Susan, I imagine that's right there, that's the importance of this Remembrance Day.
Amen.
Is preserving these stories. As we hear you share, Holly, and we thank you so much for that. I mean, words can't describe the thanks that everyone should provide.
Absolutely. God bless you, Holly.
Thank you, Susan.
My heart goes out and to each and every Gold Star family every day, because as much as I don't understand, thank God, what Holly has had to do, you know, my son has done 5 deployments, and he deploys with the Army. And he's not Army, but he deploys with the Army, and does special ops things. And his deployments have been very dangerous. And I've walked that line of, you know, not knowing if he was going to come home. Night terrors, you wake up in the middle of the night, you wonder where they are. And if they're alive, they're hurt. Yeah. So my heart is with Gold Star families, especially today, but every day, every single day.
And Holly, the transition and I'm sure the aftermath and is like you said, life-changing. But your mission now to give back, where did that come from?
I joined the American Gold Star Mothers, which is an organization that's been around since World War I. And our mission as Gold Star Mothers, American Gold Star Mothers, is to carry on our children's legacy. And we do that through service. We do that through service to our veterans families, our community. So community service has always been in my blood. I started out doing community service as a volunteer firefighter and EMT, and it has grown tenfold. And being busy and giving to my community and to our veterans is a very big role of my life. I was very proud of my son, Brian. I still am to this very day. And I'm banking on the promise that God's going to let me see him again one day. And when I do, I want Brian to be as proud of me as I am of him. And I will continue to serve our community as long as God is willing.
Wow,
Perfect.
that's incredible. And Holly, with your activities with the Blue Star Mothers, which coming up, I want to talk more about statewide and locally here in our community about the such great work that you all do. But your son's memory, is that something that not just you, but all of the mothers, and Susan, you could chime in here too, carry with them? Is that what pushes you all to do this work?
I think what pushes us most is that we don't want our children forgotten for that sacrifice that they made. I've been told many times that, and I truly believe it, that someone doesn't truly die until you don't say their name anymore. And that's why whenever we, as Blue Star moms and Gold Star moms, go out and do things in the community, we always mention names. We always talk about our children. We talk about our veterans. We talk about, and we say their names. That's so important to continue saying their names because they're all very important, not just to us individually, but to our communities and to our country, really.
And, Susan and Holly, I feel like this is something that maybe just isn't Blue Star, Gold Star mothers, but all mothers. When you think about that, the ones who truly love their children, no matter what vocation they're in, the vocation that your children chose, very honorable because of the fine line that they walk. For you, Susan, here in that area, do you see that sense of community when you're out and about?
Yes. We're all proud of our children. I have 3, and I'm proud of each and every one of them. They kid me about Matt being my favorite because I do Blue Star Mothers, but I don't have a favorite. They're all my favorite, all 3 of them. They are my life. And there's passion. All mothers have passion for their children, period. And it's, from the moment they know that they're on their way to the day that we're reunited in heaven. We have passion for our children and beyond that time. So we're all forever mothers, and it's not death and until death we apart as mothers. We are mothers into eternity, and our children are everything. So yeah, I do see that. And Blue Star mothers and Gold Star mothers walk hand in hand. And Holly has been there to support different things we do, and we want to be there, and we've been there to support different things that she's done. It's just too important. We have a friendship that just goes beyond that of a normal friendship. Just we connect on a whole different level. And I thank God for her friendship every day. She's amazing, and she knows that she can call me any day, anytime, middle of the night if she needs to. And I know I could call her.
Yeah, wow, it's absolutely incredible. Coming up, we want to talk a little bit more about that sense of community and what holds the Blue Star mothers together. And then also, too, the fact that there are so many of these Gold Star families in our region, 72 of them here in Western New York. I want to get your ladies' thoughts on that as well, because it's certainly a really big group, and especially I know I talk all the time with the Veteran Affairs folks here at Chautauqua County about the number of military veterans that live here. It's over 10% of them, so it's certainly a really big number. I want to talk about all that coming up as our Memorial Day Memorial Day special continues after this.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now on this Memorial Day, as we dedicate our noon news broadcast to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice while serving our great nation. And we're talking about their families as well this Memorial Day, who continue to live out their legacy. Joining me on the broadcast is Susan Raleigh. She's the president of the local Blue Star Mothers chapter, and Holly Baker, the president of the Department of New York American Gold Star Mothers chapter. Ladies, thank you both again for sticking with us here today. I wanted to bring up a very interesting point that actually both of you alerted to me at the start of the broadcast, was that there's 72 Gold Star families here in Western New York. And Gold Star families are families who have sons and daughters who have passed away while serving this nation, and they've become from Blue Star families to Gold Star families. Holly, is there an explanation for why there's 72 of them here in our area?
I've been asked that many times, and I'm not really sure the correct answer to that question. There are many Gold Star families, as you mentioned, 72 in Western New York region, as well as a high concentration of veterans. It might be that, as Susan and I both mentioned, a family thing. Most families who have generations who have served our military continue to serve in the military. That's the only answer that I personally have.
And it seems
I think
like
we come from a very patriotic area. Western New York is very patriotic. We are supported by so many, not just even veterans organizations. When we do a packing, and I'm hoping we can do our Christmas packing this year, hundreds of people show up.
Yes.
And it's so heartwarming, and to feel that support is just the best.
Yeah, and that sense of community and family, it seems like it comes out for a lot of things. I mean, even just speaking from my experience in the news world, right? If we have a bad house fire or something, almost within a few hours, someone's got a fundraiser going and are trying to help them out. The sense of community
we live in a very generous, wonderful area. We really do.
The sense
We're
of
very
community within your organizations. Susan, what do you see here? I know you touched on it briefly a moment ago, but anytime you have a call, it seems like everybody delivers.
They do. We put out an email asking for cards and letters from children or adults, and you just wouldn't believe the huge boxes that we get, and we send each and every one of them. We make sure that they get sent to our deployed. So we live in a very supportive, and I know you were there last year, Justin, you came and you saw the people that came. It's overwhelming and heartwarming, and to see, young people and older people, people in wheelchairs show up and pack boxes, and it doesn't. They just look forward to that time every year to be able to give back to our men and women who are serving and protecting their freedoms, and it just warms my heart, and it's why I love living in Western New York.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to ask, what do you want the community to do today? Holly, let's start with you. If someone right now was watching this and they said they felt moved by what we were talking about, how should they pay respect on this Memorial Day?
Oh, that's kind of difficult because we're so limited on what we're allowed to do with this pandemic. I want people to remember. I think that's the most important thing, is to remember. The biggest fear Gold Star families have is that our children won't be remembered, that they'll be forgotten. If they could remember, if they could take a moment, pause for just a moment, and think about those who have given their lives so that we could have these freedoms that we have today.
Susan, for you, what would you say to your friend, your neighbor, to do this Memorial Day?
Just remember, just if you know of a family, if you know, say their name out loud, if you know of a Gold Star hero. There is a website that has a listing of Gold Star heroes that we're aware of in our area of Chautauqua County, and I will send that website to you. I don't know it offhand, but I will send it to you so you can post it with this. Go on that website, look at those stories, look at those young men. There's so many stories from Western New York, and they're all out there on YouTube. Spend a moment remembering. I think you have one out there, don't you, Holly? A story?
Yes, there's many websites out there with stories on. There's many service organizations, veteran service organizations as well, that have lists and such.
So just remember, and I'm not saying don't go out. It's with this COVID, we're all kind of limited, but normally on Memorial Day, people think it's about picnics, about going to the beach, about sales at the local mall, about Memorial Day celebrations. Those are two words that do not belong together. Memorial Day is not a day to celebrate; it's a day to remember. And there's just so many people that just don't quite understand. And I understand that people don't understand, but we're hopefully here to just let people know and to maybe educate that Memorial Day isn't about beginning of summer and beginning to be able to wear white. It's about our men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms.
Absolutely. And a few years ago, as a young news broadcaster, I was actually on a remote covering a local Memorial Day parade. And I started that by saying Happy Memorial Day. And a veteran confronted me and explained to me that there is nothing happy about Memorial Day. And I will forever carry that because they explained it so well to me. And as we've talked about today, that there is so much more meaning behind it. And if all we can do is educate a few people to that, then I think our job is done. Susan, in the last few minutes of the broadcast here, I want to give you a chance to tell our viewers about a social distancing Memorial Day event that, if they so choose, they can attend here at the Chautauqua Mall?
Absolutely. At 1 o'clock today, which is just in a few minutes, there's going to be a memorial service for Memorial Day service at the Chautauqua Mall. It's behind the old Ruby Tuesdays. There's going to be dignitaries. There's going to be just a lot of veterans there, and some music, and some, just so we can come together. WJTN and Media One Group is going to be there to broadcast it live, so people can listen on their car radios. And we're asking people to bring a flag and wave a flag, and just remember and honor and remember all of our Gold Star heroes and their families today.
And absolutely. And here at WNY News Now, we thank you both so much for your time and for joining us. Susan Raleigh, the president of the local Blue Star Mothers, and Holly Baker, the president of the Gold Star Mothers department here in New York. Final thoughts of the day that you both would want to share?
As a Gold Star mother, I just want to tell my Gold Star family members that we're going to get through this, and we're going to become stronger because of it. We have to remember that we've already been through the worst thing that could ever happen in our lives. So we'll just stay strong. Gold Star families are strong. We're tough, and we're Gold Star proud.
Susan, final thoughts for today?
I just hope that people just take a moment to remember and to honor and to remember families like Holly's that live, our neighbors and our friends that have sacrificed. Their children have sacrificed, but they've even sacrificed more.
Yeah.
And God bless them all. And thank you, Justin, for having us on and bringing in an awareness to Memorial Day and the true meaning. Thank you.
We are blessed to have this platform, and I'm so grateful that the both of you agreed to come on and talk to us about that today. Thank you for your time, and I wish you both very well.
Thank you, Justin.
That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We remind you, when you're on the go, you can stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. Just search WNY News Now in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. We're back here tomorrow at noon. Hope to see you then.